Fight Club is a psychological thriller that focuses on masculinity in the modern age. Fight Club was directed by David Fincher, who is famous for directing other award-winning movies like The Social Network, Alien 3, Seven, and Zodiac. Fight Club was released in 1999 to polarizing reviews. However, its popularity grew with its increasing relevance and impact on society, which turned it into a modern classic. The film focuses on how the world has become overly safe, sterile, and boring. The characters attempt to combat this by letting go of control and security and embracing mayhem. The characters in the film attempt to follow a path to enlightenment, or hitting bottom, by letting go of one's wants and accepting that they are insignificant. The sense of freedom, discipline, and simplicity of Fight Club's lifestyle is inspiring to some viewers, but the movie also shows that lifestyle going too far and going comparable to a cult. The story is about a depressed insomniac who meets an incredibly interesting guy on a plane named Tyler Durden, who's also a soapmaker. Afterward, the narrator's perfectly organized condo mysteriously blows up. This symbolizes the destruction of the main character's consumerist lifestyle. Afterwards, he calls up Tyler, and he and Tyler go to a bar and end up fighting in the parking lot. They find it freeing and therapeutic, so they fight at that bar every weekend, eventually drawing a crowd and starting a fight club. Despite Tyler and the main character equally being founders of the Fight Club, Tyler becomes the leader because of his alluring philosophy and his confident and charismatic personality. As the group grows, so does its extremism. Group members are tasked with vandalizing things across the city, and the Fight Club transitions away from being a therapeutic weekly event into a full-on terrorist organization aimed at causing mayhem and taking down the establishment. The main character becomes discontent with the group's actions, only to find out that the leader, Tyler Durden, has gone missing. As he is searching for Tyler, he comes to the realization that he and Tyler are the same person. Tyler is just a schizophrenic representation of who the narrator subconsciously wants to be. Fight Club beautifully paints the world in a miserable, color-washed tone, just the way the narrator sees it. This feeling of apathy is what inspired them to start the Fight Club, and the movie illustrates the feeling of social isolation and meaninglessness that people are feeling in modern society and the abnormal avenues that people go down in search of purpose, for example, beating each other up in a parking lot. The idea of social blocking and the feeling of social isolation, according to IMDb, was inspired by the experience the author had where he got beat up on a camping trip and he returned to work, but nobody asked him what happened to him or like why he has a black eye. Then IMDb says, quote, Paluchunik concluded that the reason people reacted this way was that there was a degree of personal interaction that would be necessary, and his workmates simply didn't care enough to connect with him on a personal level. Throughout the story, the narrator is in a relationship with a girl named Martha Singer. She's the only girl in the movie, and she's the only character to personally know and experience both Tyler and the narrator. Like both sides of their one person's personality. The story tells about the discontent men hold for their lifeless, unmasculine place in society. However, Marla being equally miserable goes to show that the problem is with society as a whole. Alright, the scene I'm about to show you is the turning point in the movie where Tyler becomes the bigger personality of the two. The scene shows the power struggle between Tyler and the narrator, and we see the narrator submit to Tyler. And the sound and camera work help to amplify the mood of panic.
What is this?
This is a chemical burn. You'll hurt more than you've ever been burned, and you will have a scar.
What are you doing?
Guided meditation worked for cancer. Could work for this.
Stay with the pain. Don't shut this out.
No, God!
Look at your hand. The first soap was made from the ashes of heroes, like the first monkey shot into space. Without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing.
Mamma mia! Talk about camera work. Tyler's power over the narrator can be seen as he is shot from a higher angle and takes up a lot more space in the frame. And we see the shift in power as the narrator starts standing over Tyler, and then when the chemical burn happens, he immediately drops down, and Tyler leans in, showing that he is the dominant figure.
I tried not to think of the word searing or flesh.
Stop it! This is your pain. This is your burning hand. It's right here.
I'm going to my cave. I'm going to my
These jump cuts to pictures are meant to emphasize that the narrator is in a lot of pain, and his mind is racing to find a way to deal with it. And what Tyler's trying to teach him is that pain is a normal thing in life, and he needs to embrace it rather than try to escape it.
cave. I'm going to find my power animal.
No! Don't deal with it the way those dead people do. Come on!
I get the point, okay,
No,
please?
what you're feeling is premature enlightenment.
That new sound is mimicking the pulsing and searing pain of his hand melting.
This is the greatest moment of your life, man, and you're off somewhere missing.
I am not.
The lighting and color palette of the scene help represent the characters. On the narrator's side, it is dark and has dull colors because he's a boring and depressed guy. While on Tyler's side, there's a light and it has more playful colors like pink soap or Tyler's colorful shirt. The bright and colorful side is what the narrator is striving to be.
Shut up. Our fathers were models for God. If our fathers failed, what does that tell you about God?
No, I don't.
Listen to me. You have to consider the possibility that God does not like you. He never wanted you. In all probability, he hates you. This is not the worst thing that can happen.
It is.
We don't need him.
We don't, I agree. I agree.
Fuck damnation, man. Fuck redemption. We are God's unwanted children. So be it.
At this point, the tense musical score ramps up, which pulls the audience to the edge of their seats. The camera continues to jump back and forth between the characters, simulating the audience's eyes shooting back and forth, trying to take everything in, which further conveys the scene's frantic tone. As the narrator's hand is burning, Tyler talks to him in proverbs about enlightenment, and the pain puts Tyler in full control, which forces the narrator to listen.
Listen, you can run water over your hand to make it worse, or look at me. Or you can use vinegar to neutralize the burn.
Please let me have it, please.
When Tyler drags him to the side, the camera switches to a wider shot so we can see both characters and the stuff on the table, which just makes Tyler's pulling him feel a lot more forceful. And I also like how when Tyler says, "Look at me," the camera does a close-up shot of him, it just feels natural, like the audience is looking at him. And only after the narrator learns that he needs vinegar to stop the pain, does he finally submit to Tyler and give him his full attention so that Tyler can drop some of the most important lines of the entire scene.
First, you have to give up. First, you have to know, not fear, know that someday you're gonna die.
You don't know how this feels.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
Oh, look at that thing! The makeup artist who made that should be put in prison. And the sizzling sound and the smoke coming from it. I'm in pain just from looking at it. And that's exactly what the director wanted.
Congratulations. You're one step closer to hitting bottom.
Throughout the entire scene, the camera's always looking up to Tyler. At this point especially, when the narrator is on the ground, defenseless and in complete submission, Tyler stands above him like a godlike figure. This scene is the turning point where Tyler becomes the dominant personality of the two. The movie starts out with the depressed loser being the main character's main personality, but at this point, Tyler takes control. Fight Club is a must-watch, thanks to its outstanding story that only gets better the second time. The visuals, musical scores, and sound effects communicate a psychological and almost supernatural theme throughout the story. With limited time for elaboration and world building, the lighting, camera work, and scene layouts paint the whole picture. Fight Club has become a publicly recognized masterpiece thanks to its thrilling storyline and top-notch filmography.